What is up, people? This is Roto and welcome back to another WildStar guide. Today we'll be taking a look at the veteran dungeon Ruins of Kel Voreth, its bosses, mini-bosses, and how you should go about beating them. In general, things are a bit more difficult than the previous dungeon, Stormtalon's Lair, but with the right preparation and some practice, you will have this down in no time. Let's get to it. After clearing out just a few packs of mobs, you will encounter the first boss of this dungeon, Gron the Corpse Maker. Even though he has such a menacing name, this guy is a walk in the park to defeat. He has a small front and rear swipe, so DPS should stand by the boss's sides. From time to time, he will turn towards a random player to swipe them before turning back to the tank. The first ability the boss will do is Bellow. It is a large AoE knockback that will disarm whoever it hits. Either avoid it if you're ranged, retrieve your weapon, or use a CC break to automatically get it back. The boss will cast Scratch Itch periodically throughout the fight. He will fall on his side and spawn a few ads. Each one of them fixates on a random group member. This person should guide the ad following them into one of the traps scattered around the outskirts of the boss's room. Be ready to interrupt the boss as soon as you see him cast Thrash. This ability is extremely difficult to avoid if left uninterrupted, so don't miss with your stun. The boss will cast these abilities a few times during the fight until he is defeated. The one and only mini-boss of the dungeon, Dark Witch Gurkha, is quite easy with only a couple of abilities you need to be aware of. The main ability she casts during the fight is Deadly Defilement. It spawns circular telegraphs that explode after a very short time beneath each player's feet. To avoid them, simply move constantly until the ability is finished. 5 telegraphs will be spawned underneath each player, so once you see the 5th one, return back to the boss to start DPSing her down. After casting the first Deadly Defilement, she will cast a new ability, Afflicted Soil, which is a cross-shaped telegraph with her as the center. Immediately after casting this, she will cast Deadly Defilement. It's best for each group member to be in a separate quadrant, so it will be easier to run around dodging Deadly Defilement without interfering with anyone else. The boss's final attempt to kill you will be Blinding Dark, a room-covering telegraph that the group needs to interrupt. The second boss, Slavemaster Truck, has the hardest fight in the dungeon, especially if your healer doesn't have halfway decent gear, or if the rest of the group can't coordinate. Everyone should have some sort of slow, stun, or knockback ability, along with a CC break and an interrupt. During the fight, the boss will shoot missiles on the floor. Just as any other telegraph, avoid them. After the boss has been DPS down to 90%, he will disappear behind the green door. Everyone in the group should stack in front of it. Many small robots will come flying out, and the group should focus down the one that stops directly in front of the door. After a short time, the rest of the bots will explode. If you get hit by these explosions, you're more than likely to die, so be aware of these robots, as they will keep coming throughout the fight. The boss will now come back, and you can DPS him some more. He will disappear again, but this time, be at the middle of the room. During this phase, a player will be on lockdown. Their name will be prompted on the screen. This member will start taking a lot of damage, and all robots coming out of the door will be targeting this player. The person on lockdown, along with the healer, should be standing as far away from the green door as they can. The rest of the group will do everything they can to kill the robots coming out of the door before they reach the person on lockdown. If they do reach, they will explode, killing anyone caught in the blast. During this phase, 3 people in total will be on lockdown, each one after the other, so you should be ready to swap positions quickly. Once 3 waves of lockdown adds have been defeated, the boss will reappear. During this phase, a random group member will be put on a tether and small bots from phase 1 will come to explode on their position. They can DPS down the tether or use a CC break to cut themselves loose. The boss will now cast Enslave, tethering everyone in the group, and start sending ever-increasing in size ring-shaped telegraphs. You can avoid them by dodging in a similar fashion to the ones shown in the video. The next time the boss casts a suppression wave, everyone should be in range to interrupt him. The lockdown phase will repeat once more before the boss comes back one last time, where his suppression wave will need to be interrupted once again. The final boss of Kel Voreth is Slavemaster Truck. Before the fight begins, you should organize 2 interrupt groups with a total number of interrupts per group to be 5. Once the boss is engaged, he will stand on his platform and spawn many telegraphs around the room, and in case you forgot you're playing Wildstar, don't stand in them. During this phase, long-range DPS such as Espers and Spellslingers can reach the boss to do some damage. After the boss is done shooting fire everywhere, the tank picks him up and brings him to the middle of the room. During this phase, avoid the circular telegraphs and have your interrupt groups ready to interrupt volcanic strike. If you don't, the tank will most likely die. At some point, the boss will become invulnerable and start channeling Forge Master's Call. This will spawn fireballs around the room that buff whoever picks them up, including himself. So all group members should run around and make sure they pick up all of them. At the end of this channel, be ready to interrupt volcanic strike once again. At 50% health, the boss will go back on his platform and all group members should go stand by the entrance. Fiery discs will start shooting from the boss's platform and the group should move around to avoid them. Once this phase is done, the boss should be brought back in the center of the room, where you will repeat everything that was mentioned before. The only difference is that during the fireball chasing channel, the boss will also shoot fiery discs, so avoid them too while picking up fireballs. And that is my guide to Ruins of Kel Voreth. More guides and Wildstar videos are coming up soon, so let me know if there's anything in particular you would like to see in a future video down in the comments, or just shoot a message my way. Until next time, this is Roto, signing out.